I've lost 130 pounds and I've kept it off for over 9 years, but I did make mistakes along the way. And lately I've been thinking to myself, like, if I had to do it all over again, lose over 100 pounds, how would I start? Like, where would I start, or what would I change? And I came up with 5 things that I would do differently, that if I had done them the way that I'm gonna say, it would have saved me from making so many mistakes, and the parts of my journey that were difficult, it would have made those a lot smoother and easier. Number 1. I wouldn't force myself to eat gross or boring food. So here's the thing. When Kyle and I finally started to make the decision that we were gonna do our weight loss journey a sustainable way, we started eating foods that we liked and portioning them out. And it worked for a long time. But after we lost the majority of our weight, it was like we hit a success barrier. Something flipped in our brain and we started to panic, and we started to think that we were gonna gain all our weight back. We started telling ourselves again, the only way that we were gonna lose the rest of our weight and keep it off was if we reverted back to the way that we used to diet. Even though that caused us to fail constantly, we just thought somehow going back to eating only diet approved food, like that the weight loss and social media influencers and stuff say is appropriate to lose weight, that would help us. However, that meant forcing ourselves to eat really food that we thought was gross and boring. And I had flashbacks the other day. I was telling Kyle, after we lost like 100 pounds, we started to make ourselves eat plain fish, which we don't like seafood, except for like breaded fish and chips. That's like it. So we were making ourselves eat this plain fish with these, like, we like veggies, but the ones we were making ourselves eat were mushy, bland, and, well, gross. And then we started eating tuna, and we thought that the light Miracle Whip we were putting in it was gonna make us gain weight, so we took it away and we were eating plain tuna from a can. And all that did was cause us to start hating our diet again. And I was dreading it so much that I didn't even want to do it anymore. And that caused all heck to break loose, meaning we started going back to emotionally eating, which is what we struggled with before the journey started. This is what happened to us. We forgot that there was only one rule for weight loss. That's it. And we forgot that when we started to panic. And that rule is, it doesn't matter what food you eat, it's how much. Weight loss is calories in, calories out. You have to be in a calorie deficit, meaning you need to eat a bit less. It doesn't matter what food you eat, you just have to eat a little less of it. And we forgot that. When we really let that land, we started eating food that we liked again, being more flexible with our diet. That's how we were able to get back on track, lose the rest of the weight, and that weight has been kept off for over 9 years now for both of us. I lost my weight with portion control. If you wanna know the exact meals and portions that I ate to lose the weight, you can buy my weight loss ebook. It's called The First 50. The link's down below, and code Nicole will save you 10% off. And if you're looking for a good protein, this is the best tasting. It is HTLT Steps S'mores. Oh my goodness, it is so good, and it really helps with my chocolate cravings. So code Nicole will save you 15% off. The link is down below, and I put this in everything. We put it in our protein ice cream tonight, and it is so tasty. Number 2, you must have patience when it comes to weight loss. Things take way longer than you think when you're trying to lose weight, and this is what I thought. When I struggled for years to lose weight, and I kept like failing and then like going in this never-ending cycle. And when we started using the portion control, when we made that decision, I was like, no, I'm doing this and I'm getting the weight off for good. I thought that meant that my weight would just fall right off. But I always heard like this quote, like, you didn't get morbidly obese overnight, and so you're not gonna lose the weight overnight either. And I always ignored that, but it's true. It's gonna take time. Actually, I learned like your body needs at least 2 weeks before you start seeing results, because your body doesn't like change. It needs to start adjusting to what you're doing. It's not used to you making changes. So you gotta be patient and consistent. Also, there are weight fluctuations. Weight loss is not linear, so it's not gonna go straight down. Because Kyle and I had so much weight to lose, when we started portion control, we did lose 50 pounds in 3 months, so it came off really fast at first. But then it started to slow down to 1 to 2 pounds a week. Sometimes there'd be nothing. Sometimes because of natural weight fluctuations, the scale would go up a little bit. And you wanna start to panic and you wanna try to speed it up, but that's not how it works. What happens is when you try to fast forward, it can cause relapses. And so this is what happened to us. We were doing really good. We used portion control. We had lost 100 pounds each, and we were going to get married. And we said, we have 30 pounds left. We want to get this off by the wedding. We need to speed this up. So everything that had worked to get off that 100 pounds, we stopped doing, thinking it was gonna fast forward our weight loss. Meaning we took away foods that we liked, we took away snacks we liked, like popcorn, we took away treats. We were eating a portion of low-calorie ice cream and cookies every single night for dessert. We stopped all of that. And all that did was, instead of speeding our weight loss up, it caused a rebound. We bought like a bunch of treats because we were doing a candy bar for our wedding, and we bought a bunch of chocolate bars. And I started sneaking them at night, and I ate almost the entire amount of chocolate bars in secret for the wedding because I had taken away all the stuff that was working. And so instead of losing the rest of the weight, I started to gain some of it back. And I had to realize I can't fast forward. Fast forward causes problems. I have to do what works and be consistent with it. It's not gonna come off because I want it to. It's gonna come off how it's supposed to, which is slow and steady wins the race. And also, 1 to 2 pounds a week is actually really good. You don't wanna lose it too fast because then it's not sustainable. So you need to be honest with yourself, meaning, are you actually eating in a calorie deficit? Are you eating a little less? Then do that every day, be consistent with it, and keep going. The scale will eventually break if you're in a deficit and you're being consistent.
When me and Nicole got really desperate and panicked, like she said, we tried to fast forward. And when you're desperate, you're more likely to fall for BS.
Yes.
Like if you go on social media for like 5 minutes, you'll see a lot of people in this industry reinventing the wheel every day.
Yeah.
Coming up with new concepts, new diets, new foods to eat, new routines. There is nothing new under the sun. Trust the process of simple portion control, moving your body, and keep doing it. And you will, over time. It's nothing fancy. You're not going to get awards right away. Nobody's going to praise you right off the bat. But if you stick to it, it's possible to lose it and keep it off.
Yeah, and it took us a year to lose the 100 pounds. And because we had those relapses there, we ended up gaining weight back, 10 pounds each. And we had to go back to what was working, lose the 10 pounds we had gained, and then the last 30 pounds came off. So that took another year. So 2 years to lose the weight. And that's because there was relapses in between. If we had done these things a little bit sooner all the way through, it might have taken us a little quicker. But the point is, you must have patience. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's normal. You want it that way so that it'll be sustainable. Number 3, you're not going to eat the same amount of food for the rest of your life. We thought that we were going to eat the exact same portions that we ate our entire weight loss journey forever. And Kyle even was saying, like when we were talking about this video, before we started, that was one of his sticking points to not start, was that he thought he would be stuck with eating only like small portions for the rest of his life. It's not true. Yes, the portions that we ate worked for losing most of the weight. Then we hit a plateau, we had to readjust. Those are normal. But then after we lost the weight, it becomes different. We also learned you need to take breaks. If you stay within the same amount of portions or calories or whoever you're being in a deficit, and you think you're gonna do it for the rest of your life, it's too restrictive. Now, I call it dieting because that's a word everybody understands, but what it really is a lifestyle change. Because if you can't do what you're doing for life, it's not gonna be sustainable. So staying within only a certain amount of portions is way too restrictive. There are holidays, there are birthdays, there are days you're not gonna feel very great and you're not gonna wanna eat your normal food. There are days where you're just gonna wanna eat relaxed. We learned we had to build those relaxed days in. We had to let ourselves enjoy parts of our life, eating a little more than we were used to, and we had to become more flexible with our diet. We try to stay on point like 90% of the time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we're working up towards Christmas where we're working our butts off.
Yes.
And we are locked in. We are on our game right now.
Yes,
and
but
we're working towards being very relaxed for Christmas Eve, Christmas.
And we are gonna cover the holiday thing more in depth in a minute, but don't think that what you start with is always gonna work, and don't set it in stone. You have to learn to be flexible. What works for a couple of weeks might not always work. And it has to work with your lifestyle. So if you sometimes need to be flexible or eat a little more or eat a little less, you gotta be ready to do that and experiment and see what's going to work, because that's how you build it into your life so that you can do it for life. Number 4, walking is king when it comes to exercise. So first, I wanna say diet is number 1. You have to be eating a little bit less. You have to be in a calorie deficit before the exercise. You can't out-train a bad diet. But then, if you're gonna do exercise, we found walking was key for us. What happened was we did portion control when we started for a whole weight loss journey. Then we added 15 minutes of low intensity walking. And then we slowly increased it as we lost weight and had more stamina. But after we lost most of our weight, we started to build muscle because we wanted to fill out some of the loose skin. And so we started to throw all of our focus on the muscle building, and we strayed away from the walking. We were actually doing 45 minutes of walking 6 days a week. We cut it down to 20 minutes and focused mostly on lifting weights all the time. Well, some days I wouldn't even be consistent with the 20 minutes because I was like, oh, I'm doing weights. The walking doesn't matter anymore. We stopped getting the results we wanted. We weren't as lean as we wanted to be.
Started putting on weight.
Yeah, we started gaining
And it
too
was
much fat.
Mostly fat, not muscle.
Exactly. So we realized we needed to make the cardio our focus. And Kyle always says, and it's so perfect. He always says, walking brought us to the dance, and it's always gonna bring us to the dance. And that's like portion control and walking brought us to the dance. We always go back to that. If we had realized, I would have never done anything else my whole life. Like, I tried everything before the walking, and none of those exercises were sustainable. Walking is the best way to burn fat, like low intensity, steady state cardio. And we still do it now, 9 years later, over 9 years, because it works. And now we do 50 minutes, 5 days a week. And we can sustain that because it's a low intensity workout. And that's why it burns the most fat, because you can do it no matter how fit you are. You can walk a little bit for as long as you're fit enough to do.
And lifting weights does not burn a lot of calories, not in comparison to cardio.
The one thing that having muscle does is it does help us fill out the loose skin. It does help us reshape our bodies, but the diet and the cardio They come first. The weights is like the cherry on top. I always say that exercise is the cherry, but let's go. Portion control for us, that was the Sunday. Then the whipped cream is the cardio, and the weights is the cherry. So that's it. And number 5, going to the holidays. Eat what you want on the holidays. Our first year that we were losing weight, we were getting really good results, and a Christmas party came up to Kyle's family, and we were like, we're not eating anything there. We were afraid if we enjoyed the holidays and didn't eat our regular plan and our regular portions that we would gain everything back. So we go to this party and everyone's like, aren't you gonna eat? And we're like, no, we can't. We just, we had lost whatever. I can't remember exactly how much, but no, we've lost this much so far. We can't eat this. And so I sat there and stared. There was like chocolate and chips on the table. Like everything looked so good. And I just watched people eat it the whole time. And then Kyle was like, okay, there's one thing I can eat. And it was like a veggie tray. And he picks up peppers, raw peppers. He's like, I'm gonna eat the peppers, but I'm not gonna do the dip. So here he is, like,
and we actually believed that this was sustainable.
We
that
did.
Every Christmas, every birthday, I'm never going to want cake or cupcakes or whatever ever again. I'm never going to overeat ever again.
No, we really thought this. And I'm like laughing now as I say, like, he was sadly eating peppers. Like, we laugh at that now, but it wasn't funny in the moment. It was miserable. Like, there was misery on Kyle's face.
Because we both kind of knew, like, okay, Christmas is going to be like this every year now.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like not wanting to admit that it probably wasn't going to work.
Yeah, exactly. And so what happened, we didn't eat anything that day except Sad Pepper Boy. And again, like, I can laugh now, but it was very serious in the moment. The next day, we had gotten at that party like a big container of Christmas cookies from one of Kyle's like relatives. And the next day, Kyle was like, well, I didn't really let myself eat what I wanted at the party, so I'm gonna have a treat. And I was like, okay. So we went into the bin and we ate one, and then we ate the entire thing. And most of them, we were like, it was good, but like, we really didn't want to eat those. We would have wanted to eat at the party what was at the party. And so we ate that bin. We felt guilty about it.
Yeah, meatballs and
chocolate. There was Lindt chocolate on that table, and I remember that.
Cheese and crackers. I would have ate that.
Oh, so many good chips. There was, meatballs, like, just like all the cool holiday
Rice
stuff.
Krispie squares.
Oh, yeah.
I remember everything on that table because that moment's like burned into my head.
Yeah, there was like nachos and dip and like all our favorite foods, basically. So,
Pumpernickel bread.
oh, with spinach dip. Oh
I know all the 800 foods that were on that table.
And all I have in my head is the image of your sad face eating peppers, like, because that was like so torturous for us. But so what happened after we ate that tin, it was like a big tub of cookies that we ate.
And none of them I would have chosen. They were good, but everything else at the party was better.
Exactly. So we felt guilty about that and then went off the rails for weeks and started to gain weight again. Realized this is a really bad idea, but we still didn't learn yet. We then went to our first birthday celebration, and we went to this restaurant with like Kyle and his brother and his dad, and they ordered like really great looking meals, and we ordered the saddest looking like salad ever, and this boring bland quesadilla that we split. And again, it was another miserable experience, but we really thought if we celebrated a birthday that we would gain all the weight back. So what happened? Same thing that happened at Christmas. And we finally started to learn our lesson. Next day, total relapse, ate everything in the house, stuff we didn't even want to eat, and then had to go, okay, we have to let ourselves enjoy the holidays and birthdays and be more flexible, because we're not going to be able to do this for life if we don't do that. And I know, like, we're Canadian, so we've already had our Thanksgiving. you guys, your Thanksgiving is coming up. Christmas is coming up.
People ask us all the time.
Yeah.
What do I do? My birthday's coming up. What do I do if I go out to eat? What do I do on Christmas or Thanksgiving? And we always say, eat what you want until you're satisfied. Because if you don't, it's going to come back to haunt you.
Yeah. We learned, like, we're not doctors, we're not professionals, we're not experts, but this is from our experience.
Obviously, like, we're using common sense. Obviously, if you go out to eat every single night, you're going to have to start making better choices, right?
Yes.
But we're talking about those occasions that come up.
Yes, like if you are going to force yourself to eat only calories on Thanksgiving, it might bite you in the booty later.
If that's your, like, you have like 3 days a year that you look forward to, and you're going to decide to, like we did stupidly, like we're going to restrict on those days.
Yeah, that's when
if you're going to parties every day, then you might have to do a different plan.
Yes, and that's a really good point. And keep in mind, like I said earlier in the video, we eat in our calories on point, do our cardio 90% of the time. So let's say like 350 days out of the year.
On average, like one cheat day a month. And then Christmas and our birthdays. So.
And then and we do let ourselves have New Year's now, and that's about it. And then we pick and choose others. But most of the time we're on track. So if you're most of the time on track, having what you like on a holiday, it's one day. That's it. The next day you get right back on plan. You need relaxed days if you're going to sustain it for life. But like Kyle says, you can't do it every night because then you'll be in a surplus. I hope that this helps anybody struggling out there make their journey a little easier. Weight loss should never be a punishment. Be honest with yourself, be consistent, and trust the process. Love ya. Peace, my love.
Oh, I like that dance. Did you just invent that?
Maybe.
Pretty good. It's gonna catch on.
I feel it in my bones, Fatty.
Remember, the friends, that weight loss isn't just about the number on the scale. It's also about here and here. Heart and mindset. Fight through it. You can do it. Don't give up.